When Thomas first came to the sodor, he was the only engine to work on sodor. He, he was lonely because his only friends were all the kids, and there are no engines to work with him. He came from Sodor after his old railway, Portville, was being closed down. Now, Thomas felt really lonely, because he spent most of his time not with no one to talk to but trucks. But Sir Topham Hatt had realized that Thomas felt lonely, so he made his own coaches and he made Thomas his very own coaches and his own branch line. His two coaches, named Annie and Clarabelle, stayed with Thomas, cause he was never lonely for long. And he also bought another engine named James. James and Thomas soon talked together, and they became fast friends. James sometimes takes Annie and Clarabelle out when Thomas was away. He enjoys this because it takes him a lot of time to admire his shiny red paint. While Thomas handles all the trucks in order. One afternoon, Sir Topham Hatt had another plant of his own. To make James and Thomas not feel lonely anymore, he also bought another engine named Emily. So, Emily was a beautiful engine that came from her old railway. She often takes care of Thomas and James whenever they need someone to look after. There was a problem for James and Thomas. James sometimes takes Annie and Clarabelle out, but Thomas didn't get a chance to pulling Annie and Clarabelle again. To take care of, and Emily sometimes break the fighting. To make James not to take Annie and Clarabelle away, Sir Topham Hatt had also bought some new coaches, including a new engine. The new engine was called Percy, and he is a saddle tank engine. He and Thomas often talked together, and they became fast friends. Percy stayed on Sodor with the other engines because he likes working there. Now James can pull these coaches instead of Annie and Clarabelle. And Thomas is back to pulling Annie and Clarabelle again. Emily is not used to pulling heavy goods trains. To take care of that, Henry, another engine that Sir Topham Hatt has bought, to help. He is also a mixed traffic engine, which means he can pull both trucks and coaches. And Henry and James often takes care of the coaches and the passengers. Which means they can. He's also new on Sodor, and he never, ever gives up on hard jobs. Then Sir Topham Hatt had rescued an old engine, and that old engine has a coach. The engine's name was Toby, and he's a steam tramp. He was not old. He's kind of vintage. Toby helps out on Thomas's branch line. Henrietta can pull coaches and take passengers as well. Toby the tram engine likes to work hard on Thomas's branch line on the island of Sodor. Sometimes steam and diesel can often be useful. Dieselization never often gets rid of steam engines. But to make things more interesting, Sir Topham Hatt doesn't want his steam engines to get scrapped, but instead he bought some diesels to help with the steam engines. One of the diesels that he bought was a shunter named Joey. Joey is a hard-working diesel engine who had just came from the Burlington Northern Railroad in America. He was repainted, and he was soon working hard. Later, things were changing. Sir Topham Hatt had his workmen build a huge rail yard for all the engines to live here and sleep, and to save some room into the shed. And he also bought a third friendly diesel and to help. The diesel's name was Richie, and he came from the Santa Fe Railroad in America. He was soon fast friends with Joey, and because he loves to make fun. Because he and Joey became fast friends, and they became good, and they like to work hard. Richie can handle the passengers, while Joey handles all the trucks in the yard. You know what I'm talking? Oh, the engines smiled. They thought some diesels can be good, but some can be very bad. Another branch line has been built, and it was important like Thomas's branch line. And to help out on the new branch line, Sir Topham Hatt had bought another tender engine to help. The engine's name was Edward, and he's also Sir Topham Hatt had sent him to work on the new branch line. Edward is a very kind engine, and he sometimes break arguments all the time. Edward was never lonely. Sir Topham Hatt also sent Joey to help out with Edward as his own diesel shunter. He also bought two other engines. Two are tank engine twins. The first tank engine was Bill. Along with him was his twin brother Ben. Bill and Ben can be cheeky and very naughty, but they work hard and kept really useful. Edward sometimes soon put a stop to their games. He sometimes called Bill and Ben the naughty engines. So, Bill and Ben are really cheeky and really naughty but soon the engines managed to put a stop to them. The Ellesmere Harbor is really crowded. There are no engines available on the harbor. And maybe this is due at the quarry, and Thomas and Percy, along with Toby, are too busy on their branch line. That is why Sir Topham Hatt had bought another friendly diesel to help, and this diesel likes to work hard at the sea. The diesel's name was Salty, and he's a dockyard diesel. He loves to tell tales to the sea, and he often sang songs to the trucks to keep them in order. The engines thought Salty was like a talking pirate. But Salty often acts like a pirate and be really useful indeed. And the trucks know their secret as well. Even Bill and Ben likes to... Bill and Ben likes to tell salty stories, but Frankie the Crane does not.